you think?
Oh, what do you think? That is the question here this morning. I have Alan Wilson, South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson, on the air with us this morning, and it is a great honor to have him with us here today. Alan Wilson, congratulations on making that decision. I had you on 2 weeks ago. You wouldn't announce on the air, and now you have announced as of Monday. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Ann. It is an honor. Like I said, it's a decision that did not come lightly, but the decision to run for governor is a momentous one. It requires buy-in from the entire family and our supporters, and we were so happy on Monday night. We had over 350 people in attendance. The parking lot was so full, people were actually leaving because they couldn't find a place to park. I'm sure we violated a fire code. That's a good problem to have, but it was a great send-off to this campaign, and I'm honored to be on your program today.
Well, I am looking forward. I've got one issue I want to talk about with you, but first off, I want to talk a little bit about your campaign and what you are looking to do. In your announcement the other night, you said, "Today marks the beginning of a new fight. I'm ready to make that fight to turn the page from what our state could be to what our state will soon be." Can you explain that?
Absolutely. First off, Governor McMaster will have been the longest-serving governor in South Carolina history, and he's a man I've enjoyed serving alongside these last 8.5 years. But as you know, he is term limited and can't run again. And so as we turn the page from this administration to the next administration, there's an opportunity for South Carolina to move to a new generation, to have new, fresh ideas. Just like someone will follow behind me as Attorney General, I will follow the governor and will be the next generation to lead our state to what we could be. And the things that I think that we could be is, I think we are a state with so much potential. I love this state. I love its people, and we could do so much. The things that I'm going to be working on, Ann, as I travel the state over the next year, I want the people to know that I think South Carolina can be even more than we are now. We're we're the highest income tax state in the Southeast. There are 3 states that have 0% income tax, and there are about 5 or 6 states that are passing laws to go to 0% income tax. We cannot fall behind them. We can do that. We can go to 0% income tax. And as Attorney General, I have prosecuted public corruption, and I have seen all kinds of bad activity at all levels of state government, from school boards all the way to state agencies. And there are times that I have observed bad or incompetent government that wasn't so much criminal as it was just incompetent or wasteful. And I would like to doge South Carolina government from the lowest levels of government all the way to the highest levels of government. I want to implement advanced AI technologies with a beefed up Inspector General's office with greater expanded oversight authority to go after not so much the criminal stuff, because we find the criminal, we can prosecute that. But I want to expose all the fraud, waste, and abuse going on from school districts to municipalities to county governments all the way to state agencies. I want to revitalize and reform our education system. I learned this past year that South Carolina does not have a uniform dual enrollment program like North Carolina does. We have a dual enrollment program, but that's a program that allows high school juniors and seniors to take college general education credits to get credit for them. We need to beef that up, because I've learned that kids can graduate high school with almost a 2-year associate's degree. And for kids that need a certification or an associate's degree, that means they can go to work right after high school without skipping a beat, and we can pipe them into our workforce, whether they're technicians or coders or computer technicians or rad techs or med techs or nurses. We can get them into the workforce faster. But also,
we don't want to. Wait a minute, Alan. We don't want to give these kids a break, do we?
Well, here's the thing, Ann. The kids that want it can elect to do this. This is not a mandatory thing. This is something they have the option to do.
Okay.
But for kids that want to go to a 4-year college, and especially the kids who come from families in lower income brackets, imagine going to college on day one and you have half of college knocked out.
Right.
You have all your general education requirements knocked out. That's tens of thousands of dollars that families would save.
Well, we
I've
we
taught
have
at
that
technical
at
college.
yeah, we have that at Piedmont Tech here. So, when you talk about the Doge aspect of it, do you think there is pork in our South Carolina government?
Absolutely, there's pork in the South Carolina government, and there are people out there, and think about this. There are people out there who've never had anyone looking over their shoulder. They've never had oversight. And when local officials, government officials, never have anyone looking over their shoulder, over a period of time, they start to become very comfortable with their decisions. And if their decisions are bad, then they continue to make those bad decisions. It's kind of like this. You and I are going to get on the road later today. And we're not going to speed, we're not going to drive recklessly, and we're not going to drive drunk. First, it's the right position to take. But secondly, we all know that there are police officers out there randomly patrolling the highways of South Carolina. What if we had people out there randomly patrolling all government agencies from school boards all the way to the state, randomly patrolling, randomly auditing, randomly spot checking? Think of the deterrent effect that would have. And for those people who do decide to engage in wasteful, fraudulent, and abusive practices in local government, there will be some who continue to do that, just as there are people who choose to keep driving under the influence. But we will have more resources to catch them and to hold them accountable and to expose their wasteful and abusive practices.
I like it. I like it. I got one more question before I ask you the question that I called you about. I saw where you want to get rid of our South Carolina income tax. I think that's great. How will you fund government?
Well, first off, you look at all the other states that are doing and the states that are going there now, what they're doing is they're doing what's called revenue triggers. If you look at South Carolina's government growth, the growth in government spending over a 10-year period, and you look at the population growth indexed by inflation, government spending is growing faster than our population by over 2%. Over a 10-year period, that's $10.5 billion. If you were to connect the growth of state appropriation spending to the level of population growth, you could probably shave $1 billion a year, and you could basically land our income tax like a plane landing. You wouldn't do it in 1 year. You would do it over a small period of time, allowing government to continue to fund itself. But here's the thing that people got to remember, Ann. When you allow people to keep their money that they would be spending on income taxes, they do other things with that money. They invest in their business. They invest in savings accounts. They invest in other investment opportunities, in properties. They invest in their families. They buy things. They spend money. They buy goods and services. This revenue will find its way back into the state coffers, but it will find its way there through other vehicles, because people will be growing our economy, will be growing the size of the pie, not the size of the pie wedge.
Interesting. Because I know with what they were trying to do with Governor McMaster's idea was that everybody has a responsibility, and that in some cases our lower end income people were paying more under this new policy that they have adopted.
Well, that was a tax cut. This is a tax elimination. And again, when people say we can't do it, and then how do we fund government? Well, Texas, Florida, and Tennessee don't seem to have a problem funding their governments. And you also look at states like West Virginia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi, who are all currently debating and passing laws to do the very same thing. We're going to be one of the few states in the Southeast who doesn't have, who has an income tax or doesn't have a 0% income tax. So people who say we can't do it, that argument doesn't hold water, because everyone else is going there.
I understand. Years and years ago, I lived in Florida. They've had that for years, and it worked very nicely. So, any other key point? 1 minute. Any other key point you'd like to make before I ask you my question?
Well, no, other than cracking down and reforming government fraud, waste, and abuse, and then changing our education system, the one thing that was important to me I didn't get to say earlier is that there are 4,000 to 5,000 students every year being turned away from technical colleges because they don't have seats to teach these technical trade jobs that start at $80,000, $90,000 a year. We need to reform that and reevaluate that. And we do that, I think South Carolina can go to the next level.
What's the next level, Alan?
Competing with the states of Florida and North Carolina and Georgia. I mean, we've been losing jobs and industries to these states for years. So to Tennessee, The next level is South Carolina can be the beast of the Southeast. We can be the leader. And listen, we're doing well, and Governor McMaster's done an excellent job. But I do think that South Carolina can be the number one state in the Southeast for economic growth and development and job creation.
The beast of the Southeast. I kind of like that one. All right. Alan Wilson, you are the Attorney General, and I want you to put on your Attorney General hat right now. And I want to discuss the hate crime ordinances that have been popping up across our state. Here in Greenwood, there is a group of people that think that Greenwood needs a hate crime ordinance. What do you say about the legality of the hate crime ordinances? Will they hold up, and is there a need for them?
Well, first off, when you talk about hate crime ordinances, are we talking about outlawing offensive speech, or are we talking about enhancing criminal penalties for principal laws that have been violated?
Number two, enhancing.
Okay, so right now, for first off, my position is if you're dealing with hate speech, I'm against outlawing offensive speech. If you're dealing with the latter, that law is currently being debated at the state legislature right now. And if you're going to have, and I've talked with prosecutors and sheriffs all over the state, and if you're going to have a law that basically takes a crime, say assault and battery with intent to kill, or assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature, and there's an additional element that someone committed that crime because of a victim's race or ethnicity or sexuality or something like that, that you could enhance the penalty. It doesn't make you don't have to prove that element, but it just allows you to enhance the element if it's proved in addition to the crime. I'm okay with that. Will it eliminate hateful conduct? I don't think it will, but it doesn't put a burden on law enforcement and prosecutors. That's fine. The problem I have with local municipalities doing it is that all of a sudden you have several hundred municipalities in South Carolina passing a patchwork of various laws or ordinances that are not uniform. I think that's a bad policy. And if you're going to try to apply it to speech, that's definitely unconstitutional.
Right, but so is it constitutional for the local municipalities to add an ordinance? A hate crime ordinance.
First off, Ann, I have not read the ordinance in Greenwood.
We don't have one at this. We don't have an ordinance that has been made yet, but this is under discussion, and that's why I wanted to discuss it with you. I mean, what was it? Is it Richland County, and a lot of municipalities have done one.
Right. And again, I would have to look first off, I think if you're asking me if it's constitutional or not, I'd have to look at a written document. I'd have to see what the ordinance actually says. I mean, right now we're talking hypothetically. I think it's a bad policy altogether for municipalities to pass a patchwork of hate crimes. And you're talking about, like, what exactly would they be enhancing? I mean, if someone commits an assault and battery in the municipality up there in Greenwood County or in the city, that's also a violation of state law. So how is the city going to be able to enhance something that is a state crime prosecuted by state prosecutors? There's so many questions I have about this. I don't think doing this at the municipal level is the best way to do it. Whether or not it's lawful or constitutional, I'd have to look at it. I'd have to read an actual, a bill or an ordinance. But right now you're asking me to hypothetically give you a legal answer.
Well,
what I would tell you is this.
Go ahead.
I don't think cities are positioned to do this. I don't think they're the right vehicle, because you literally have municipalities that are 3 minutes apart from each other, and no one knows when they're in or out of a municipality, and what specific city ordinances would they be violating? At the end of the day, if they're going to try to apply this to offensive speech, that is categorically unconstitutional. You can't do that. We can't outlaw offensive speech that we don't like. We can ostracize it. We can reject it. We can say it's bad, but you can't criminalize it. If you're talking about enhancing someone violating a local ordinance because of a hateful motive, what ordinance are we talking about? I just don't see how the city can do this. I don't see how it would even be enforceable.
Well, that's my question. So, and since other municipalities across the state have instituted them, I don't know whether any of them have been challenged or anything like that as far as their as far as being legal. And does it make a difference in the fact that the state, South Carolina state, has not enacted a hate crime law like 48 other states have in our country?
Well, if South Carolina were to pass a state level enhancement crime, and again, it depends on how the bill is written. I've spoken with law enforcement and prosecutors all over the state. There's generally, everyone is okay if you're going to enhance a principal crime with a hate component, right? That gives us an extra tool. Is it necessary? Will it deter hate? I doubt it. But if that's what people want, it doesn't hurt us to have it. If you do pass that at the state level, then that would probably preempt anything a municipality did. And so I'd have to read, if they do write a municipal ordinance, and I would love to read it, and I'd be happy to come on your show and talk about the actual ordinance. But as a general practice, I don't think local government is situated to enforce these types of ordinances. I just don't think it's a good policy thing to do.
Absolutely. Well, when you become governor, and if this is passed by the state legislature, would you sign that into law?
Like I said, I've already taken a public position as Attorney General that as long as you're not putting burdens on prosecutors and burdens on law enforcement, I have no problem with having an additional enhancement. In other words, if someone were to attack me because of my ethnicity, if someone were to attack me for whatever reason, you could put them away in jail. But if they attack me because of my ethnicity and the judge wants to add an extra 5 years, I don't have a problem with that. Now, I will say this, Ann. All violent crimes are hate crimes.
Right.
I mean, they're
right.
hateful. If you're stabbing somebody, you're being hateful. So I think it's redundant, but there are people out there that says South Carolina doesn't need to be the only state or the one of two states that doesn't have one in the country. And I'm like, as long as the law doesn't hurt law enforcement, as long as it doesn't hurt prosecutors and create unreasonable burdens, then I'm okay with the extra enhancement. But if you're going to make that part of the crime, I would categorically oppose that.
So as an enhancement, as an extra layer to get them extra time or whatever, you would be okay with it. Is that what I'm getting out of this?
Right. It's like giving me an extra golf club in my bag of golf clubs. Do I need the extra golf club? No. Will it make my golf game better? No. But having it in my bag just there to use in case I want to, why not? That's the metaphor I'm using. But again, if people try to apply a local ordinance that is labeled as a hate crime and they try to apply it to speech, I will absolutely be against that.
Absolutely. Well, that was my question that's my question for the day. I know you told me you're going to come back on my show, so I've got to have lots of questions lined up because you only can give me so much time every time I have you on.
And I will come up there for an hour next time if you want. We'll have a good time.
All right. That sounds great. Alan, I want to let you close it out. I know you're in Myrtle Beach and you're getting ready to speak. What would you like to tell the voters, our listeners right here in Greenwood and the surrounding areas here?
What I would like your listeners to know is this, that the office of the governor belongs to you, the people. I am just a guy running in a job interview. I'm on a job interview right now asking you to consider me to be the trustee of an office that belongs to you. And as I travel the state, I want the opportunity to earn each and every one of your votes. I don't want you to give it freely. I want to earn it. And if I can have that opportunity, I think I will earn your vote. Thank you, Ann, for having me on your show. And I look forward to coming up there and visiting with your listeners and visiting with you.
Thank you so much, Attorney General for the great state of South Carolina, Alan Wilson. Have a great day.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Alan Wilson, right? Attorney General Alan Wilson, right here on WCRS Radio. So I'm here, I'm back. That's right, and that was a pretty interesting interview. Interesting about some of his policies about wanting to get rid of the income tax. A little bit different than what our legislatures are doing down there in Columbia. And I think most interesting about the Doge effect that he wants to put in. I I can't remember who I had asked. I had asked one of our legislators about Doge, since Doge was so popular in Washington D.C., and they go, "Oh yeah, we got Doge going on down here in South Carolina, in Columbia." But I think what Attorney General Alan Wilson is discussing is something of a totally different nature. I like the idea of having auditors from state government all the way down to city, state, and school boards. I think this is important, and I agree with him. People get comfortable. People get comfortable. We didn't talk about the pay increase that the legislators voted themselves. I could see that being doged right away. I'm just for it being doged. Now, I did have a piece on that I wanted to share with you. The Attorney General had weighed in on it on the last interview we had, but the bottom line is that even if the state Supreme Court has not weighed in on it, they could, if they decide against it, take that money back. The people that had gotten it would have to take it back. So I think that's an interesting thing. They said that while they may not even have an actual trial on this, they may just have a decision coming down. What do they call it? A direct review, and the case is being heard directly by the Supreme Court, bypassing lower courts for speedier resolution. No trial is scheduled. This is a declaratory judgment proceeding decided on legal briefs and possibly oral arguments held before the justices. The court has not published a schedule for oral arguments, but the urgent nature indicates one may be held soon. Now, they have asked for information, so it is an ongoing case. If this does not go through, they will they hopefully have a decision before July 1st. July 1st, of course, is next Tuesday, folks. So I, for one, am watching it and want to know what's going to go on. But that's kind of where we are. There is no legal brief proceedings, and that is just what's happening. So, I certainly hope they kick it back. It doesn't seem to me that it should be legal to vote yourself a raise. Just doesn't seem right. Now, when county council, oh, that's right, you're listening to WCRS right here in Greenwood. When county council voted a raise last year, I guess it was 24. It was for the upcoming session, not for the session that was already going. So I think that is a good thing. But to vote yourself a raise, I think, is a little bit outrageous. And to vote yourself a raise that is $1,500 a month, $18,000 a year, is even more outrageous. So This is what we have. This is where we're at on that. We'll be anxiously waiting for that. It is conceivable that by Friday, I guess Monday at the latest, that they could issue that ruling, and that would either stop it or let it go forth. All right. I'm Ann Eller, right here with you this morning. That was interesting conversation with Attorney General Alan Wilson. We'll have to see what our local government decides to do across the state as far as these hate crime ordinances. They are popping up all over, and some have said that they want to use that as a way to get the state to act. But the question is, does that really work? And how does each each ordinance being an individual ordinance and being in one county but not in another county, if you go across the state line, I mean, there's a lot of questions about that. It would seem to me, if we were going to have a hate crime ordinance, that would have to be under a statewide thing. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I think the Attorney General said. It's he would not be opposed to it if it was passed by the legislature, and as long as it did not have to do with our First Amendment rights. First Amendment rights. You cannot, he says, do anything on speech. Hate speech is just hate speech. But I kind of agree. You know, any crime of if you're trying to kill somebody, ram them with a car or whatever, you're already in hate mode, right? You're already in hate mode. And I think the other question is it something that's really needed? Does it make a difference? That is the question. Would it make a difference in whether somebody reacted or did something? If they knew that there were, quote, enhanced penalties, would it make a difference? I don't know whether that would or not. Somebody that's going to try to kill somebody is not going to probably stop and say, is probably not going to stop and say, oh, I better not kill them because I'll get enhanced penalties. And if you're trying to kill somebody, you probably have some hate in your heart for something they have done or who they are. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a topic that keeps coming up. It is a topic that a group here in Greenwood seem to think that we need. I do know from some articles that I have read that this getting municipalities to put a hate ordinance on the books, they feel is a way to get the state to act. Well, maybe, maybe not. So be interesting to see it. And I'm going to also be asking our local legislators more about it as we get closer to the time. But that's a big issue, and it's an issue that's come up across many municipalities and one county. Is it Richland County, I think? Is it Richland? I think it is, that actually did that too. All right. So, what else are we talking about here this morning? I saw where Doug Emhoff, the Vice President Kamala Harris's husband, is going to be doing some, is going to be a travel professor, and he's going to be down at USC. That should be interesting. I wonder if he's coming by himself or if he's bringing Kamala Harris with him. That is what I would like to know. That could be very interesting. I don't know how long these guest professorships last or anything else. Just saw that in the news the other day. Thought that was most interesting. Other news that is out there for us to talk about. Let's see, what else? Yep, we got that one. Oh, yeah. You know, I'm going to talk about this one just because this story to me is important. Have you know, here we go. Used to, it seemed like most people had good posture, right? And today we see a lot of people with the hunched over effect, and it's because we all spend too much time looking down at our phones, you know. Back in the day, remember when they used to talk about what was going to happen to our hands because of computers and what number of digits are going to be important, how important your thumbs are, you know, all this kind of stuff. Well, now we really have a problem. We really have a problem because we spend so much time sitting on our butts and with our eyes and our neck and everything crammed over a computer or sitting there on a phone. They say that our bodies are changing, you know, and I mean, I personally have noticed this, and so I try very hard at the appropriate times to stand tall. I always like that phrase, stand tall, okay. And now as an older person, I try to stand tall, and sometimes it's a little difficult. But they are saying the technic is what they call this, technic. All scrolling, typing, and slouching comes at a cost. This is an article in the New York Post. And it says, technic is a term used to describe neck pain, stiffness, and discomfort that results from prolonged periods of looking down at electronic devices, smartphones, tablets, etc. So it's often the result of poor posture when the head leans forward and the neck has to support its weight for an extended period of time, and it's no small task. It actually says in this article that with your head forward like that, it's like 10 pounds that your body has to adjust, your head has to adjust in order to keep you upright. So it says that 73% of university students and 65% of people who work from home have neck or back pain. If left unaddressed, tech neck can lead to chronic neck pain, headaches, muscle imbalances, nerve compression, and disc degeneration. So they have a new thing you can do, and it's really quite simple. It's called adult tummy time. Now, I know you're probably going and you're out there here. If you've ever spent time with a baby, you've probably seen this move in action. Tummy time for infants is a critical activity that supports several key physical and cognitive milestones. It helps strengthen the neck, core, and upper body muscles, prevents flat head syndrome, and supports hand-eye coordination and motor skills. So for adults, this move is all about counteracting poor posture. Adult tummy time requires the participant to extend the neck and lower back, reversing the poor postural position of a flexed neck and lower back. And it says this decreases pain and provides relief to the neck and lower back joints. Does it work? A physical therapist says, I see value in this position because it helps counteract forward head, rounded posture by stretching the front of the body, improving spinal extension, and strengthening the muscles that support the shoulders and the neck. So I thought I would just put that out there. If you are one of the people that notices, God, I just don't stand up the way I used to, they say that doing that for 10 minutes a day can help prevent tech neck and ease the aches that come with it. So it says, while adult tummy time is widely accessible move, it's not for everyone. Tummy time would not be appropriate for individuals diagnosed with cervical or lumbar stenosis and a couple of other osteoarthritis. In other cases, in some cases, it could make their symptoms worse. But he says for a lot, and being pregnant, you should definitely not try tummy time. Okay. But it is something that can really help. So it says, lay on the floor or on a yoga mat. Avoid soft surfaces like beds or couches. Lay face down on your elbows. Make sure your elbows are positioned directly underneath your shoulders. Look straight ahead and relax your lower back. Begin with 5 to 10 minutes in this position. And it says stop immediately if you have any pain. And it says if you don't want to do it on the floor, there are plenty of other moves that you can use. But I think it's an important one. I don't know. Have you ever caught yourself and you're just kind of hunched over walking along and you go, what's wrong with me? That's right. So I'm very conscious of it. I thought I would share that. Yeah, I'm going to be down on the floor with tummy time. Seeing what I can accomplish. Probably laying there looking at my phone while I'm doing tummy time. See, that's the problem, isn't it? You need to put the phones down. That would certainly be a good thing. And, of course, all that slouching and everything isn't good for your internal organs and all that good stuff. I just thought I would share that this morning because tummy time is something that you might want to be aware of. So, we have coming up this afternoon, we have Superintendent of Education, which is Ellen Weaver. She will be on the air with us, so I am looking forward to having her on this afternoon. We already have a lot of questions. If you have a question for Ellen Weaver, it would be best if you could text me or email it to me, or you can call and leave a message too, because when I get into these interviews, they move rather quickly, and I already have quite a list of questions. So if you'd like to submit a question, 864-229-7984. That's 864-229-7984. And you can also send an email to wcrsinfo@gmail.com. So that is another way to contact me and let me know what you are thinking about. So I hope you will do that. I hope you will tune in this afternoon. That will be going on from 5 to 5:30. Of note, I do not believe we are going to have a guest on Thursday afternoon because I have somewhere to be, so I don't think, unless some emergency came up for a half an hour, maybe I could squeeze it in. But other than that, we will not have a show on Thursday afternoon, but I will be back tomorrow morning right here on WCRS. Do want to tell you that tomorrow evening on Thursday at 7:30, the movie Inside Out 2 will be at West Cambridge Park. That's going to start at 7:30. They'll have free popcorn courtesy of the Greenwood Police Department. So hope you will come out and enjoy that. That is this Thursday at 7:30 at West Cambridge Park. So there's another good one right there. Also, I'm going to try to get to this one. Groundbreaking ceremony for the Palmetto Innovation and Technology Center over in Due West at 5:30 on Friday, this coming Friday. That, of course, has to do with the Due West Robotics, and I think that is a terrific thing that they are building, and they will come. So other things, it says, due to the extreme heat temperatures in our area, the summer meals program at Emerald High School will be held from 8 to 11 for the next 3 weeks. So they've moved it back. It was later into the day, but it is going to be from 8 to 11 a.m. 8 to 11 a.m. So that's a change. So if you'd like to get your meals, make sure you go and you pick them up for a week. I believe it's a week at a time. So that's a very, very, very good thing. So that's District 50. Yes, they're going to do it from 8 to 11 a.m. now. Don't forget, coming up this weekend is the South Carolina Festivals of Stars. They got a big week planned. And one of the things that is going to be going on is a huge cruise-in over there in 96. You know, I remember when they first started, when, Piedmont Tech used to, God, I hate that word, used to have a family fun day on the 4th of July, right, to celebrate the 4th, and they had the fireworks, and then at some point they decided they were not going to do it. Well, 96, and I don't remember what year this was, if somebody knows, you can let me know, decided that they wanted to do the fireworks, and they thought it would be so cool in order to finance this that every resident of 96 paid $1. Well, it worked, and they were able to raise the funding to have this, to start the very first fireworks show and celebration of the 4th of July. So I always think back to that, and I think, that was such a great idea to involve a community in having something that people were sad that Piedmont Tech wasn't doing that anymore, and that 96 was able to pick it up. So I just wanted to say that now, of course, they have something that is sustainable. They bring in name acts, and we'll talk more about everything that's going to be going on over there. But I just wanted to remember it all started with $1. And they had people giving money from people that maybe grew up in 96 but were not still living in 96. I can remember having, I think it was Margie Blaylock on, talking about they got money from the Midwest somewhere and this type of thing. People really care about their hometown. And that was very evident when we look at 96. So that is going on this weekend. It's called the Festival of Stars. It all started with $1 donation from as many residents as wanted to give, and I know many gave more than $1, but still a very cool start to an event. Of course, coming up in just less than 2 weeks is what? The Festival of Discovery and Blues Cruise. My only hope is that we can get a little cooler weather in here, but I don't think that's going to happen. But would be nice if we could, if we could have that. That's right. So, what else did I want to share with you while I have this opportunity? I know there are some other events I'd like to just give a shout out to right here on WCRS radio. So let's see, what do we have? Oh, yeah, I was looking at this last night. I love, people say to me, "And what are you doing up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning?" Well, I'm working, but sometimes I need to take a break. So I scroll through Facebook, fall into that hole right there, was looking at a blues festival cruise. Now, that looks kind of interesting, so I'm going to check that out some. That's on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, Ann Eller. So I think that looks pretty good. I've been looking at a lot of different travel things here. Is there a trip in my future? I don't know. And I like this. Due to the rising costs of medical tests, all you can do is be under a tree and wait a bit. If ants gather, it's diabetes. If grass dries up, high salts. If it smells like barbecue, high cholesterol. If you forget to pull up your pants, you've got Alzheimer's. Wah, 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 wah. That's right. There is some... That was a little joke, in case you didn't get it. There you go. That's a little joke. Don't try this. Don't actually try this. But I just thought that was kind of fun. Also, don't forget about if you can help out the YMCA as they rebuild their campsite down there that was devastated, and I mean devastated. Some of the estimates that they got in cost was from $50,000 to $70,000 to rebuild it. There have been a lot of people that have come on board. Team Rubicon came out and got rid of all the trees that had fallen over. That was a huge boom. James Long has been working tirelessly over there to clean it up. But it says this year for camp, they are doing it at the Y itself rather than down underneath the pine trees. And a lot of people remember growing up and having that program underneath the pine trees. And they want to get it back. They just could not get it back for this year. But if you would like to help finish the job, they still have things they need to do. And they said you can go to the Lakelands, ymca.org/donate. And make a donation if you'd like it to go for something special. There is a place to put your notes in there, and they would really appreciate it so that hopefully in 2026 they can have this place back spick and span and ready for the upcoming generations to be able to enjoy the Y. There's a lot going on. And there always is a lot going on. Sometimes you just need to take a break from all that's going on. I would like to know what happened to the ice-cold whiskey dispensers that used to be in offices. ice cold whiskey dispenser from the 1950s. For a short period of time, they were very popular in many office buildings. Then they decided people were overdoing it, right? But anyways, wouldn't you like to be able to have a whiskey break? Yeah, let's go have a whiskey break. What's the possibilities of that? I think that's why so many people went to working at home. That's right. Anyways, that's just a little joke. Just a joke here this morning. Let's see if there's anything else I need to inform you about. Don't forget, coming up this afternoon, Ellen Weaver, Superintendent of Education, will be joining us right here on WCRS. So don't forget that this is an important interview. It has to do with education, it has to do with budgeting. All these things are part of this, and I, for one, am looking forward to having her here, having her on the radio. She's not actually going to be here, but this is kind of interesting what the Index Journal is putting out there. The Calhoun Falls is having chaos and no budget, and then police chief ejects a resident from the council meeting in '96. What's going on here? We don't have time to talk about it today, but they actually are getting a little rowdy. Of course, over there in Calhoun Falls, that situation is totally out of control, and who knows what is going to happen there. What is going to happen there? I think the question is, what happens to all the bills? What happens to the money that's owed Abbeville for their water, which is how this really came to light, was the fact that Calhoun Falls had not paid a huge water bill, nor did they have any money available to put out there. So just something that is now under the being investigated by the state, but still people are trying to meet and have meetings and this type of thing. I did see some clips on Facebook where people were wanting to know what was going to happen and were mad at their county council, which of course they should be, and what was going to happen. They were ejected from the meeting, so it was rather rowdy. And I want to go ahead, I did a little thing on it yesterday, but David Doherty receives the state's highest civilian order. He has been known as, he is the epitome of a servant leader, and he was bestowed the South Carolina's highest civilian honor, the Order of the Palmetto, during an evening recognition ceremony on Sunday at South Main Street Baptist Church. That is so cool. I can remember David always was one that was even taking pictures of events and everything. I can remember getting an envelope with a picture in it that was mailed to me and said, just, Ann, I thought you would like to have it. So thoughtful, so caring, and he's been involved in, that's just a personal experience for me, but he has been involved in so many programs, from outreach, adult literacy. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on. And as he said, that he just wasn't expecting anything like that. And those are the people that you're so glad to see recognized, because they just do it because they want to do it, and it's the right thing. So congratulations, David Doherty, for an honor from the state of South Carolina that is well deserved. All right. Well, we are just about finished here. Penny is a little mad at me this morning because I didn't let her come in here and be part of the show. Yeah, well, there's sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. But she is getting ready for her big debut very soon, and she is very excited. She's already told me she needs to have treats right here on the table ready when she wants a treat. She likes specific types of treats. She thinks she's going to be a star. And how long have I been doing this? What am I? Chopped liver? I guess so. Anyways, I think that's going to wind it up for me this morning. I had an excellent interview with Alan Wilson. He is the Attorney General right now for the state of South Carolina. He wants to become the governor of the state of South Carolina. And we will see how this shakes out. Josh Kimbrell just put his name in the hat Monday, right before Alan Wilson did. And now I think he's having an official announcement. Is it Thursday? We will be having him on the radio. We'll have all the candidates that are running for political office right here on WCRS. So that's going to do it for me. I hope you enjoyed the interview that we had with Alan Wilson here this morning. I hope maybe it clarified some of the things that you might be questioning, whether it is or is not. So let's take it away. I'll see you at 5:05 with Superintendent of Education, Ellen Weaver. Have a great day. Go back and watch some of those videos. Oh, and by tomorrow, we will be live on YouTube. Now, we're not going to be doing the show live, but we'll be posting the videos that night. Will be going up on YouTube, so you'll be able to have another venue to watch videos. You can watch them on Facebook, and you'll be able to go back and watch them on YouTube. I think this is really exciting, and I'm excited to unveil it tomorrow morning right here on WCRS Radio. That's going to do it for me. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Keep on sharing.
The phones are open.
Keep on laughing.
Give us a call.
You gotta keep on caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop. As long as you've got truth, don't ever stop.
You're on the air.
As long as you've got love.
What's on your mind?
Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop.
What do you think?